Patrick Saunders of the Denver Post wrote an article, it was in today's paper, or it was on the website today,
right,
saying that the Rockies are losing their hardcore fans. Average attendance this year, 30,898 a game. They're down over 2,000 fans a game. They're now 14th in Major League Baseball with those numbers. Are they losing their hardcore fans? Are you hearing it from people? Are people starting to give up on this franchise?
There's just a sense of apathy when you start stringing together 90 lost seasons. I mean, you become almost like the Royals, where it's just, there's no hope by the All-Star game repeatedly. That's tough on hardcore fans. This year has been unique in that sense because there was the perception with O'Dowd and Guyvette gone that there was a fresh start, the manager would be empowered. Weiss doesn't appear more empowered. He clearly wants John Gray there. They need pitching. And the only ones who can't seem to figure that out are Bridich and Dick Monfort. And that's where, when I would cover the team, it's that repeating of mistakes, trust the process, let it play out, we're going to be fine. Nobody wants to hear that when you're stringing together 90 lost seasons. And it doesn't feel different. I guess that's my point to this year. Why is this year more jarring to some hardcore fans is because there was this anticipation it was going to be different this year. Well, and why? Woody, it feels very much the same.
Well, but why? Because they're led by a bunch of bloggers who are owned by the team or don't want to piss off the team so they can't get a press pass sometime. The people who are smart have been saying, you still write columns and stuff. You, Sandy Clough,
you,
me,
Kisla,
Mark Kisla. There's five people that write. Patrick, when he can write a personalized column, will write what he wrote. Nick Grote, when he does a blog or something. There's only 6 or 7 people in this entire town that actually fight them publicly. Fight's the wrong word. That question them publicly.
Take them to task.
Yeah, and here's the sad point, and he gets really mad when I get it, but what I brought up earlier is, oh, they lose tonight. They don't mention the score because you don't want to mention 10-2. They lose tonight, but Troy Taylor, here's the big news of the night. The big news is you lost 10-2. You came back from a road trip that you stunk on.
Right.
You come back home, you get blown out by another American League team. You've won one game against American League teams in like 3 years now.
And a pitcher making only his second major league start pitching at Coors Field.
And your so-called best young pitcher, your best young pitcher got blown up last night in 2 1/3 innings. Your second best young pitcher is at home having a vacation. Tyler Mastic, we don't even know where he is.
Yeah,
he's in Cabo, I guess.
He's got the yips.
Yeah.
I mean,
your next
best
pitcher, Jonathan Gray, is serving aimlessly in the minors. The next best young pitcher is Eddie Butler, and he's trying to find his way in the minor leagues. And who's your next best young pitcher? Nobody.
Are they losing their fans? Are they losing their hardcore fans?
No, because it's such a. When I say that, it's so confusing because they claimed 26,000 last night, and they're always off by a lot. But
that number I gave, 30,898.
That's paid. That's paid.
It's paid attendance.
Tickets,
You
not
can report it that way. There are nowhere near that many people in the stands every night.
Who did people go to see last night?
Trout,
Pujols. And Pujols, yeah.
That was it. Maybe a little Chris Inetta thrown into the mix because he was here for 5 or 6 years. No, so it's so misleading, apparently, to the stupid people who run that franchise. Oh, they still love us. No, they don't. They're going out because they got the tickets before the year. They went, oh, let's go in July. Here, son, I'll take you from Nebraska over to Denver in July. Are they losing the hardcore? I told you, I figured out how many season tickets, partial and full, they had, and it's 22,000. And
that many?
Yeah,
really,
that's what
many?
It is. It's 22,000. I've worked real hard on that. So I went back and looked. I mean, there were years where they were selling 35,000 season tickets. What's going to happen when you say, are they losing their hardcore fans? They're going to go under 20,000 next year. For the first time in the history of this franchise, they're going to go down to 18, 17, something like that. Because people were keeping their season tickets waiting for them to be good. I think they've seen the change that you talked about and went, this is just more of the same. Walt Weiss is getting a pass, which he shouldn't get anymore. This should be the end of Walt Weiss. He makes mistakes all the time, and he's like Reagan that you brought up earlier. He's a Teflon man because we love Walt Weiss. We do love Walt Weiss, but he's screwing up. You know that when you're struggling, play the guys the next day. What are you saving them for? You're saving Troy Tulowitzki because you don't want him to get hurt? Well, if he's going to get hurt, he's going to get hurt sometime. It doesn't matter when he's going to. Oh, you're saving guys? Why are you saving guys? Walt Weiss is making mistakes. I watch them. Pitching changes. He'll do the double switches that are wrong. Walt Weiss is making as many mistakes as the rest of them. Bridich is just a carryover. He was Dan O'Dowd's caddy. He's now the head of it, and Dick Monford's still there. Are the hardcore fans apathy? They just don't care anymore. That's what it is. They just don't care. Are they losing them? People just don't care anymore.
I just don't think that the criticism of Bridich is fair. He's had very little time, and he's working with an owner who will only allow him to do so much.
So you think
it might not matter who the general manager is, as long as that owner continues to serve as the interim president.
You don't think the general manager brought Drew Stubbs back?
He did.
Do you think he had the Dick Monfort says, "Oh, that's your call"? You think Walt Weiss wanted a guy that struck out every time he got to bat?
Well,
no.
I
so
think
that
what
was
your
Jeff
need
Bridich.
is. I think what you have to look at what the need is at that particular
Okay,
time.
let me give you a need. Matt McBride, who came in one of those trades, the
Ubaldo
Jimenez trade.
yeah, he's hitting 290, or he's hitting 395 in the minors. Give him a chance. Stubbs has had his chance. He didn't do any good when he went down to
Well, the
Albuquerque.
reason he's
still
up,
striking out.
The reason he's up is they're going to try to trade him. He's making $4.2
Well,
million. He's the most overpaid outfielder.
Is
I'm just
everybody
saying.
stupid?
Well,
Troy?
Did hit a home
I'm just
run the
saying
other night.
you just try to get
One.
someone to eat
One.
300,000. I mean, at this point, they are just showing him to 10 scouts
Every time you
and see
show
if somebody
him,
will take
every time you
Yeah.
show him, though, you show
Right.
his ass that he's not any good.
Well, I'm not saying I would have called him up. I wouldn't have had him make the team. And he did. I mean, I didn't know he had options. So for me, he wouldn't have made the team out of spring training. And Les's argument with Bridich, my issue is this. It is going to be hard for any general manager under the current ownership structure. Where it needs to change is the infrastructure. I mean, I've always said that I would have brought in Tampa Bay's entire scouting department, their scouting director. They develop pitching every year, and I understand it's more difficult at altitude, but look at the success and the way to develop a guy from A-ball to AA to AAA. How many of their pitchers take steps backward, other than that by injury? The Rockies,
Just about everyone.
I'm talking about Tampa Bay.
Oh,
no
no,
one.
here, just about everyone.
That's where I would just overhaul the system. It's not about one GM. That's not the issue. It requires an entire makeover. And if I'm the owner, and I told the Rockies this, go get Tampa Bay's entire front office, give them 3 years before
Troy,
you say anything.
This owner doesn't believe there's a problem.
No, I know, and
That's
I understand
the
that
problem
because
right
they still.
there.
And I would never tell people not to go to the games because I didn't have
we
that
don't either.
opportunity
We don't-
growing
yeah,
up.
we won't do
if
that
you want to
either.
go to the games, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
and it is still relatively new, even though we talk about it in terms it's been around forever. It's still what 24, 25 years.
Oh, second oldest ballpark.
No, but I'm talking about in the
Third
history of the
oldest.
franchise. It's still relatively new. It's not generation passed on. Like when I would travel the country, it was amazing to see a 2-year-old with his 80-year-old grandpa who's at his 1,000th game. So, but it's unfortunate because when they're good, it's a magical thing downtown. It's an amazing event. People just jump all. It's exciting.
But you say when they're good. When were
But
they
they're
last
not.
good?
That's the problem. That's part of the reason I'm not covering them anymore. I mean, it's not newsy after the All-Star break. It's just, who are they going to trade? And once they get past the trade deadline, there's really nothing left to their season, and that's unfortunate.
Well,
for
it
those
is.
of us who love baseball.
Sure, and we all three of us here love baseball. We grew up on baseball. If I had my choice, I'd love to go to 50 games. 2 teams, last 5 years. Give me the worst two teams, their records over a 5-year period.
It has to be, the Astros until this year were terrible for so many.
So
The
they're
Astros
still number one.
Astros would be number 1, and then after that, the Phillies are going to be getting close,
Rockies.
and Rockies would be
But
right
here's
in
the
the top
difference between the
5.
Astros and the Rockies that they actually told people in
Yeah, we're
Houston,
completely cutting this thing down, and we're rebuilding.
and we're rebuilding it.
But they didn't care about attendance. This franchise always cares about what do the fans think. In terms of will they still come to the games?
Would you agree? Would you agree or disagree that the one thing they don't get is people here? You keep talking about have people giving up on them. Would people here accept if they said we're going to blow this up.
That's a great point, Les. I think they would at this point.
3 years from now,
I do too.
we're going to be the Philadelphia 76ers. We're going to blow this up. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring up all those pitchers and find out about them.
Who they are.
We're going to bring in, I know he's hurt, but we're going to bring up Dave Dahl. We're going to bring up, who was the left-handed first baseman outfielder that comes up every year?
Parker?
Tim Wheeler.
Kyle Parker.
Let's find out about it. Kyle Parker, #1 draft pick. He hasn't hit a lick when he's come up here. He's not hitting that much in AAA. Either find out and get rid of all of them,
right,
or whatever. That's what Houston did.
I think people will accept it because they want to see something different.
Right.
They want to see an effort towards change.
But the reason it worked in Houston is you brought in Jeff Lunau, who could say on his resume he built the most successful farm system in baseball with the Cardinals. So to do this, which I do think the public would be ready for that, it has to be new from everywhere. New GM, new scouting director, new database, new set of eyes.
And name a damn president. This portion of the big stuff brought to you by Grand Prix Motorsports, your source for the original motorcycle. It's Indian Motorcycles, so check out the newest line of Indian cycles at Grand Prix Motorsports on County Line and Santa Fe. And that's Big Scott in his flip-flops on his Indian motorcycle.